So because of time restrictions, I have to make a part 2 of this video. So let's finish assembling this track. Alright, so we're sticking that in there. And I just like to tighten them to where they don't fall off before I actually, I don't know if you can see that, before I tighten them all the way. I want to make sure that the track is lining up correctly. So I push it as tightly together like that, and it usually comes with this little Allen wrench and another wrench, but this one didn't, so luckily I had one from previous. So I'm going to start tightening them, and at the same time I'm pushing the track together as closely as possible. This one needs to be tightened a little bit more. All the while I'm making sure that that is lined up, because we don't want any lip at all, otherwise you'll have that wheel hitting it, which I've seen some customers who've had doors put up by other people, and that it's right there, but I guess they learned to live with it. Alright, so I know this is probably boring. We'll move on to the next thing. So this is how it's finished. This is solid now, and you can see it just goes smooth. It may look a little different and there's a slight gap, but that's just how some of these tracks are. Some of them you will not see a gap at all. This is perfectly fine and stable, but it's just the way some of these are made. And this is all tightened up, and we can move on to the next one. So I just bring it over here. Got my little box holding this side up so I can get it as close as possible and have room to work. And we're gonna do the same thing. And as you can see, it looks funny. I might flip this one too, but we'll see, because I'm gonna try to get it as close as possible. And even though that looks like that, I bet you it's gonna look like this with a little gap, but it's perfectly fine. I'm gonna do that and we'll go on from there. Just finishing tightening these up. And usually I always run my finger, making sure nothing's poking out. And I do that as I move along. And there we go. Nice smooth track all the way down. And now we're ready to make the holes. So this is going to be way difficult trying to hold my camera with one hand, but to give you an idea, I'll line up the left side because I'm going to be working my way down that way, and start off, and this isn't going to be exact because I'm going to do it exact because I don't want the track not to be level. But I will just take the tape measure and say I'm gonna go with 3/4 right there. I would scribble in, boop, 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 move down to the next, and I would do the same exact thing. And if I have to move the track up or down, I just wanna get it to 3/4. So I'm gonna do that starting at the left end, going all the way until I'm done. And that will ensure, this is one of the most important, I would say, tasks to do, only because aside from putting up the header and leveling out the track once we start putting the lag bolts in, it's just so important to have this track level. Otherwise your door is gonna roll either right or left. All right, so I'm gonna start doing that and I will show you the finished product. So now I've marked my holes all the way down. And as the board, it varies. These may look like they're off, but if you measured each hole correctly, these will actually be perfectly aligned. So now we just gotta drill the holes. So I guess this would be a good time to tell you that this is pretty much all I'm using. You know, pencil, tape measure, drill. I'm gonna use this drill bit, and I do like this little tip because when you're making these holes, I like to punch it right in the center. That way it's going to be level, and I'm not like going around and round and round with it. I want to go right straight in the center of where I made my mark. But yeah, aside from what comes into the track, of course for the actual installation of the track you'll need more things, which we'll go over that, but for this part, that's about it. Alright, so here I'm gonna go to the center, puncture it so it's there, and ready to get it in. And move on to the next one. Make it a little closer here. Get it, punch it. Get on to the next one. Running out of room, so I'll have to flip my board. So that's the track and the header. They are ready to get stained or painted. I believe this one's gonna get stained. And that's pretty much it for the track assembly. The next part will be actually installing this bad boy. Thanks for watching.